It's a beautiful day in northern Arizona. We're on Interstate 40. Up on the right here, this is called the McClellan Reservoir. Right over there. Anyway, we're headed into the beautiful town of Ashfork. We just left Williams, Arizona. The gateway, there's Ashfork right there, 11 miles. The gateway to the Grand Canyon, about 2 miles past the reservoir. We're going to find a little part of the original Route 66 that runs out here in the canyon. This is all new. You can't get to the original road anymore. It's a fire road way out there. It heads up here just around this bend.
Brake check?
No. So right past the brake check area with all these trucks. Way in the distance, that's the Picacho Butte. Way out there. And on the right here, we're going to find a little section of old Route 66. Runs way out there in the field. It's a 19-mile road coming from Williams. It's our steep cliff-hanging road. You drop about 1,700 feet down curving grades. Gets real dangerous at night when it gets all icy. And from Google Maps, right here you can see the scar from the road, and that turns a little east or west into the Fire Road 6E, and that flattens out about 6 miles east of town as you approach the old Monte Carlo truck service and the Monte Carlo Cafe. Here we might have a better view of our old road out there. See if you can see
the scar on the right.
something. There we go. See that scar way out there? See that right there? That's old Route 66. Holy smokes. Here we are, exit 149, Monte Carlo Road. And right there it says truck repair. There we go. That's our Monte Carlo truck stop. Way out here, and oh, there's the cafe, that kind of wooden building with the gabled roof. Here we got the Monte Carlo truck service building, but this guy here, here are the windshield wipers. That's the old Monte Carlo Cafe. Also had a gas station store, and those were torn down when they put the exit 149 in. Used to have a cafe sign right on top there. But that's no longer there and kind of falling apart today. And this road on the right, up here, that's our 1932 to 1952 Route 66. Right up there. And you can't drive it, but for recreation you can ride your bike or take a walk or take a jog or a hike. And that's pretty fun out there. And then our original road is actually to the south. There's our cafe again. And as we approach it the other side, see that little cut out there? That's our old alignment that heads into Ashfork. We're gonna head out this way. And this next exit heads right into Ashfork. We're gonna start our little walking tour of the whole town. Here we go, County Line Road, exit 148. Here we go, we're going to head out County Line Road to the right. We're going to check out some pretty cool old ruins we have out there. So this whole section of town is called the County Line Motels. We're going to stop right here. This whole pile of rubble is called the County Line Cafe. Anyway. Used to be a stucco brick structure, sort of mansard parapet design on the roof. Some type of billboard right on the roof too. The signs right here, they're all gone. Used to say County Line on the top box and Cafe in the lower box. They weren't neon, they're kind of backlit. So here's our cafe right here. Real tiny spot. Super popular out here in Ashfork, and there's kind of what's rest of a building over here. That guy, he's called Martin's Motel. Right here, it's all in shambles today. Simple one-story linear layout. Got a gable roof on top, kind of bends down a little bit. Anyway, had Martin's Motel sign on 2 poles right in front here, but we don't have that anymore. That's too bad. Next door is another motel. So the road here dead ends, so you're gonna have to turn around, go back to Route 66 through town. This whole area here, all the sandstone storage, Anyway, that was called the Sleepy Hollow Motel. It's a modern private baths, panel array heat, quiet and clean, reasonable rates. There's separate buildings, each with 2 units and a central office, and the additional gable roof building running parallel to Martin's right up here. Anyway, used to say Sleepy Hollow right on the roof, and now it's our little storage yard. Down the way, a little bit out there, past the billboard, the second, third billboard way up there. Anyway, that was an unknown gas station. I think that was called the Old Frosty Spot. It's not there anymore. So we're going to return back over the road into the beautiful town of Ash Fork, Arizona. Now from our county line motels, you got to head back onto Interstate 40 here. Bunch of back and forth county line road. We're going to get off at exit 146 in Ash Fork. Here we are, exit 146. We've got the train tracks right down there. That's coming from Williams, about 17 miles east of here. Here's our beautiful town of Ash Fork right out here. We're gonna head right this way out towards the museum at the end of town. On the right here, this is where the Monte Carlo road would have been. You head way up there, that's going to be our Monte Carlo Cafe. This little creek here is called Ash Creek Wash. And that's how the name of Ash Fork was decided on, because it's 3 little, here we go, Ash Fork Monument. We're going to check out that site. Welcome to Ash Fork, Arizona, the flagstone capital of the USA. Elevation 5,160 feet. Population less than 500. Founded in 1882, when the Atlantic Pacific Railroad, they set up the siding. Post office established at Ash Creek on the fork. That's how it got its name. Out here I showed you, here we go. It's one of the parts of Ash Fork. And up here, the new road, the forks here, left and right. And the original road headed out to the right here, and that's called Lewis Avenue. We're going to head down that street on the left. That's the eastbound, today called Park Avenue. Here's an old photo looking west. We've got Route 66, Lewis Avenue on the right. That continues through town out to the water tower and the famous Escalante Hotel. And here's the 1940s aerial view. We have our 2-lane east-west Route 66 through town from 1st Street down to 8th. Then it turns south along Pine and out to our next town of Seligman. Anyway, there's not a whole lot here anymore. Interstate 40 bypassed the town in 1970. The Great Fire wiped out a bunch of stuff in 1977. Then another fire in 1987. That destroyed much of the rest of downtown. That's really sad. So anyway, we're going to head west down here. See if we find any old relics left over. First stop here across from the new Shell station. This is Route 66. Right here, that's the old gas station, the site of Roy Hume's Mobile Gas Station. That dates back to 1950s. Got a concrete box-shaped building, 2 dive-in bays, office on the left, and a detached butterfly canopy. That's right up front. Today we just have our slab here of the former gas station. Anyway, that's too bad. But up here we got 2 great old relics here. This one first, that's the Copper State Motel. Opened in 1934 as the Copper State Modern Cottages by Zelma and Ezel Nelson. Got a single story, L-shaped layout, 12 cottages, thick stone walls, all up and down there, and attached garages. Anyway, in the center, right here, that center building, that was the Standard Oil gas station. Later became the Copper State Court, then sold to new owners, converted the gas station to a little house we have here. Anyway, you see how they filled in the canopy right up front? Used to be able to drive right through here underneath the canopy. It's all filled in. That's our You know, Stonewall Copper State Motel right here. Isn't it fantastic? Wow. Anyway, this U-shaped layout today. That building behind is called the Vigil Plaza. It's that antique shop with these vigas, those little timbers running across the top there, kind of Spanish adobe style. Next to Copper State, this guy here, old payphone right there. It's the Highline Motel. Little sign hidden behind the tree there. You know, it opened up in 1935 by Alton Maccabee as a Highline modern auto court. Anyway, kind of ruined. We have buildings, the room here, and a garage, and a room, and a garage. It's all kind of in shambles right now. Got a U-shaped layout, flat roof, closed attached garages. This used to be a Shell station right here. Had a connected canopy, small pump island. Today it's like a little house office structure. Your home away from home. 1950s garages. They're all converted to units. Motel was branded as a Highline Motel. In the Shell, well, of course, showed you that right here, has converted to an office. Here we go. It's a Highline Motel. Beautiful neon sign right up there for Highline. Wow. And ahead, all this is new. It's either torn down or burned down during the fires. Anyway, head up the corner of 1st Street here. Right there, that building. That's our 1933 Thoreau Motor Company. Automotive sales, 24-hour wrecker. Old fading billboard right up front there. Market, Ash Fork Inn, budget rates 1/2 mile. Stagecoach Motel. Route 66 RV, life on the road. Off the grid. Left at 8th Street. Anyway, today it's called the Yavapai Trading Post right there. It's all boarded up store. Used to sell mobile gas right in front. On the other side of the street, here we have the First Southern Baptist Church. And right here we have a little marker. It's called the Ash Fork, Arizona Historic Flagstone Sidewalks. A Great Depression Work Progress Administration, 1936 to 1939. So during the Depression, the government hired people to go out and do work and laid out these flagstone sidewalks here up and down Lewis Avenue. Hey, we got a nice old home here right at 2nd Street. And on the corner, this one here, that garage, well, that's kind of new, little shed. Used to be the side of Jake's Shell Station. Anyway, that's no longer here. Next door, this is called Zettler's. That opened in 1930. Still a little busy. That guy opened in 1930 as a bakery run by Marie and Homer Zettler. And after World War II, their son Vernon, his wife Marge, they turned it into this little market here called Zettler's. They retired in 1983, but still here today. This cool gas pump island. Our old gas pump right there on the Mother Road. John Steinbeck, Greats of Wrath. Good little photo op here if you want. This guy with the motorcycle. This is a great store. We're gonna take a look through the windows. Little blast from the past. Zettler store, serving Route 66 from 1929. And today it's full of lots of cool old stuff. I think it's like a antique junk shop. Other side of the street, lots of homes. And here, today's is called Patriot Auto and Truck Repair. So former 1950s Type 140 Union 76 service station. Right here you got a steel building, completely shop fabricated off-site and then assembled here in the field. Anyway, you got a sweeping trapezoidal box canopy right up front there, a little space-age Googie design. A giant Union 76 monument has on top of the canopy. That's not there anymore. Called Tupper Garage. That was called the Patriot Auto. Maybe kind of the same business. Across from our Union, right here it says Nelson Indian Trading Post. Right there it sold native curios, Indian rugs at reservation prices. Over here on the southwest corner, that used to be the United States Post Office. Had a Greyhound depot there. Little running dog sign on the roof for the Greyhound. Even had a bar next door while you waited for the bus. And the post office was here till 1960. Then it moved up to Park Avenue. This is looking west. I think just after the post office moved. I'm not sure the year, but on the southeast corner, next to Nelson's Trading Post, we had the old Conoco station. Other side of 3rd Street, that's the Pit Barbecue and Ice Cream. Next is Guying's Cafe. I think that was owned by Cena Guying. Then the Ashford Garage, the Road Cafe. Behind that, the Coca-Cola sign. That's a drugstore and ice cream shop. The stucco walk-through portico is a White House Hotel. And way at the end, that's our Escalante Hotel. Okay, so on the other side of 3rd, this is just an amazing place. All these buildings here, these were railroad buildings, all single room, and they helped all the employees stay here. But this one here particularly, this is a brothel back in the old days, built in 1903. Anyway, the town's bar and their brothel, and later became the Deluxe Cleaners. And that's pretty cool. So the Madame, she lived, I think she might have lived in one of these houses, I forgot. But these are all the railroad houses, and this is Railroad Road right out there for the train. It's kind of the bad part of town. Kind of get, oh, here's a brothel. That's a Madam's house, I believe, that one right there. That's pretty cool. So right next door to our brothel, this was once an old Texaco station. It started out as a residential house type structure, simple Texaco star right on top, then modernized in 1957. Little concrete building, no canopy, office on the left and 2 open bays on the right. Also had a large horizontal Texaco letters mounted on steel poles. In 1960, the car right up there, that guy was added right on top, an old Chrysler DeSoto Adventurer. And Elvis, I can't see him too well, but he's right up there at the wheel. Anyway, the building was restored in 2001, turned into a beauty parlor, and I think it's all closed up a little bit. And this is a pretty interesting building. Route 66, sign right up front. It's called the Green Door Bar, 1925. Old cafe with that whitewashed sign. It was used as a set in the 1992 movie Universal Soldier, and that starred Jean-Claude Van Damme. Never get the guy's name right. Anyway, then it's called the Crowbar in the movie. Next door to the Green Door. Very long time ago, this little structure, it used to be a log cabin structure called the Owl Bar. And then further down was a Texaco star and a pole. And across from all this, over on this side, this vacant lot, it's all burned down during the fire. This is the Ash Fork General Merchandise. Also had the movie theater here. And the post office, I mentioned, was on the corner. And that was next door, was the Road Cafe. Anyway, post office moved on. These all burned down, and that's really sad. So here's a photo looking west from 3rd Street. That was probably around 1950, 1915 or so, when the Lewis was still a dirt road. On the right, that'd be our Texaco. On the left is a former garage. Second story would be added and converted into a newer post office. And next door is some type of cafe building. And across 4th Street, that's the general merchandise store. And on the right's the Arizona Cafe. At the end, the east wing of the Escalante Hotel. Anyway, later photo in Route 66. That shows it paved in 1927. Little evolution of the build and the road out here in this great little town. Right here in the corner of Lewis and 4th Street, this is the Emmanuel Trinity Methodist Church. Back in the Route 66 days, this was the Arizona Cafe, serving liquor and beer. 2-story masonry building, later became the Northern Arizona Commercial Company. Finally our church today. And during the Prohibition, way back early 1900s, anyway, there used to be a tunnel here, underground, and it ran right up to the bar and the brothel and all the speakeasy stuff going on. And so when the cops came, they just kind of closed everything up and said, well, nothing to see here. So it's all pretty much a gnarly party town with all the railroad and Route 66 coming through and all that really fun stuff. Anyway, here's an Arizona cafe in the 1940s looking east. I think it also had the local bus depot at one time. Next door to the cafe on the left, in this vacant lot up here, that's the side of the old Standard oil station. See in this old photo, got those pump islands right up front, horizontal sign reading Standard Oil Products. That's pretty neat. This is the market right here. This is all part of our prohibition problems or fun stuff we had out here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so by the Arizona Cafe, here's another look at our old gas station, Standard Oil Station, no longer here. Anyway, got a slab at least. Here we have a historical marker that leads out to this monument right here. But anyway, this building here, that was once called the White House Hotel. Whitewashed wood frame, 2-story veranda over the sidewalk, and neon sign right up front. Anyway, it's all looking different today. It's been all filled in. Anyway, right here on the right is vacant lot. That was the Arizona Hotel and 66 Cafe. That's a 2-story wood frame, gas pump up front, neon sign reading Arizona Hotel. That's no longer here. I'm not sure if it burned down or torn down. But the water tower up on top and the Ash Fork Volunteer Fire Department. But here's our marker right here. Anyway, on the left, that's our library today. Anyway, this was once the site right up here of the famous Escalante Hotel, named after the Spanish missionary Francisco Vasquez Escalante, and he explored this whole area in 1775. Part of that Harvey House network of railroad hotels and restaurants up and down Route 66. Opened in 1907, built to steel and concrete Spanish Mission style architecture. Let's take a look at what our monument says today. Thanks a little bit of history of Ash Fork out here in Arizona. Let's see. Yeah, Ash Fork, founded 1882, and all the wonderful stuff you can read about online. And here's a great photo. That's looking east from where we are today. It's Hotel Arizona right here. That would have been that vacant lot right over there. Here's another photo of the Escalante Hotel. Here's the railroad tracks here in the Escalante Hotel. So here's our railroad, and this whole section of town, that was once the heart of the social activity of Ash Fork. And by the late 1800s, 1880s, the passenger freight travel, that rolled through town. 1893, the original Ash Fork train depot, the wooden Harvey House, that was erected along the north side of the tracks. That was built from red coconino sandstone and facing Cooper Thomas's Lewis's Parlor House Saloon and the Postal Telegraph Store. The town became a major junction up from Phoenix and Prescott. It's the only railroad link to northern Arizona. The devastating fire, 1905, it burned down the depot, hotel, restaurant, and water tower. 1907, the new depot was erected about 500 feet west of the new Escalante Harvey House Hotel. And that was the original sandstone from the old depot. That was repurposed and built the walls of today's Ash Fork Museum. Here's a historic 1914 photo of the Santa Fe Depot and the Escalante Harvey House. Built of steel and concrete, L-shaped, Spanish Mission style architecture. Total cost of $115,000. Extending 420 feet along the railroad tracks, another 200 feet running up east along the end of Lewis Avenue there. The front lobby is equipped with a giant fireplace, a quiet reading area. That's called the Indian Room, a newsstand, curio store, barbershop. The dining room had a beautiful chandelier, silver, crystal, linen tablecloths. No man was allowed to enter without a coat. Anyway, as Route 66 opened up and the rail trailed traffic, that kind of slowed down in competition with other ventures. That was pretty tough. So our famous Escalante, that closed down in 1951 and finally demolished in 1968. That was replaced by the 1970 Santa Fe Depot. And that guy's still standing on the far western end of the former Escalante complex. Now from our beautiful Hotel Escalante, we're going to head west by the water tower up there towards 8th Street and Pine Street. And that was where Route 66 crosses south to get back on the road to Seligman. Hey, so right by our beautiful water tower, this building says land sales right on top there. That's the former Furno's Texaco at 8th Street and Park Street. And Park Street, that became our Route 66 going eastbound. We're not taking that today. Anyway, this is a 1970s stone building, detached canopy and shingle mansard roof there. I love those little mansard roof. Anyway, you say Texaco on a big tall sign where it said land sales. We're gonna go left here at 8th Street. This is our Route 66 as it heads south and then west out to Seligman. Historic Route 66. It's all asphalted today. So this was a dirt road, of course, and then a concrete paved road, and now it's all asphalted over. And you turn over to the right here. Turns into Pine Street. So you keep going to get your fix. See our museum on Route 66, like those Burma Shave signs. Anyway, oh, Burma Shave, hey, this here. We'll stop and take a view at this one just from a distance. This is the Tourist Center and Museum. Arizona Old Tourist System right there. There we go, that's it. That's the Ash Fork Route 66 Museum. The old warehouse building dates back to 1922. It is the road and highway maintenance camp when the National Trails was built here, and later assigned to upkeep of Route 66. Inside are lots of historic photos of Ash Fork and a scale model of the Escalante Hotel. That's pretty cool. There's another building we have. Anyway, this guy is the back half of a little hotel we have. Anyway, further up. So this will dead end. Dead ends right at the 1950s alignment, and also our Interstate 40 right up there. But you can go right here on this dirt road or turn around and go back. I'll show you the other side of this hotel. Okay, so today this is called the Canyon's Edge Motel on Route 66. And it used to be called the Nomad Hotel. Had a complete Arabian style theme going all around. It had like a Arab-like neon sign right up front, but all that Arab stuff's been taken away. Now it looks like a little castle kind of building right there with an owl. These are called junipers. That's a single-seated juniper there. Anyway, it's a cute little motel you can stay at today, right around the Route 66 when you visit our beautiful town of Ash Fork, Arizona. And there you go. We're out of time in our video. We're headed out to Seligman, going westbound. Thanks for driving. Thanks for being patient. We got this great ice cream from the shop down right at the, I think it was the Union 76 station by the brothel. Beautiful ice cream there. And a muffin too. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.